where are you at currently? Where are you based out of?
I
Where
was,
are you at currently?
I was born and raised in Miami Beach, like
Oh,
literally 41st Street, Mount Sinai. You can't get any more Miami than that, you know? But raised here my whole life, man. I've left a couple times. I lived in Jersey for 2 years, but then the second year was when 9/11 happened. So I was kind of like, all right, we're out. The tri-state area is a little too weird, but came back here, man. And then I've always been tapped into kind of like the music community, meaning like, studio world and all the studios, every engineer who's working out of what. And finally, like when I came back out here after 9/11, high school, I was like, man, you know what? I've been playing drums since I was 9 years old, been in thousands of like hardcore screamo bands. Like I know music, I know the recording phase, but it just kind of like was calling me like this should be a job of yours. You know what I mean? Because you do it 24/7. No one's got to tell you to do this shit. You do it in the middle of the night. You wake up, leave the house at 4 a.m., not pissed that you're coming back at 9 a.m. So it was a little tick in me that I'm like, I think this is like the real calling for me to do, you know? And Miami is a mecca, man. Whether people live here or not, everyone's gonna pass through this bitch. So we're gonna catch you at one point in some studio. Like, you'll be here.
yeah. No, that's definite. And there's only a few places like that, man. I mean, where I'm at right now, LA, I would say is like that. New York City,
Yeah.
Atlanta, Miami, but I mean, those are kind of like those are the spots like you're gonna catch up. But Miami, I feel like
It's different, you know what I mean? Because LA, it's like, man, you can go two doors down the road and there's like two of us already doing the same thing we're doing, so it feels a little oversaturated when it comes like to a city that really propels that community. But Miami, it's like, if you're in a room with someone, you had to have been invited, really. You know what I mean? You just don't end up in that studio with these people just out of the blue. So that's why I like Miami is a little bit of a closer network because, people that need to know are gonna know why you're there, who you are,
uh, most definitely. But no, we're gonna get into all of it. I know how busy you are, how crazy things have been. So super, super appreciative for you stopping by. We're reporting live from the Yellow Room today. Everyone knows what's going on. We got the big goat, the man who holds it all together, Sniper Gang Zone, Dyryk in the building, the producer room powered by producer culture. My guy, what's going on?
Oh man, just cool, man. Just keeping the shit moving forward. It's not much to it. It just got to keep pushing forward every day.
You say not much to it. I feel like that's a big lie, but we'll get into all of it shortly. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows, but for those who don't know, which I gotta think is very few and far in between, kind of like just give them your blanket role, what you do, kind of like the role within the camp, everything you got going on like a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, with me and Yak, I met him through a mutual friend that was kind of helping him out around the time, like, I think No Flocking and Skirt came out. He just put me on. He's like, man, there's a kid out of Florida, and I heard No Flocking, so I was like, I know what you're talking about, But then when I linked with him, it was really, of course, on the engineering tip, but it was around we were putting together an institution. So the engineering is pretty much where I knew I can contribute, because given how his system already was, there were things in place, but at the same time, given how my brain works, especially as engineers, how organized we are, I know you just need that extra, lift when it comes to getting stuff right. But it started off as engineer, and then, quickly I was able to place one record with him. It was on Khaled's album called Pick These Hoes Apart. I think French Montana, Jeezy were also on it. That was my first beat I ever played for him. You know what I mean? Literally straight off the bat. He loved it, jumped on it. We saved it, got it. But, the production thing is almost natural because as an engineer, you spend so much time with an artist. It's like, you're going to have those moments in the room staring at each other's faces like, yo, you got beats? Hey, I got beats. Let me play. You know what I mean? So it just naturally evolved. But, given being out of Florida and just understanding just like the demeanor it is out here, I got what kind of person he is and what kind of artist he is, So it's all about trust, and engineering is the biggest trust factor between an artist and, anything when it comes to their music. So over the time, we had to go through some unfortunate, times where we had to go away and came back. So there's always been little breaks here and there, but throughout the whole process, given just as something as simple as music as an example, there was a huge trust, thing that we had with each other that kind of just kept going every time he would come home and we'd do another project. So, I mean, from engineering to producing, I mix all his stuff, majority of it. Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't do master. I, pass it on to Chris Athens, who I love and admire and, inspired by him because he's just a G with it. But a lot of the roles that I try to do with him is just pretty much, of course, whatever he needs me for. But engineering has always been that standpoint of where our trust even was built off of, and like I said, every artist has to really trust who has your files, who's recording you, whether they caught that take. It's just the littlest things that, give reassurance to the artist, you know. But that's from that point on, man, given all the stuff that we've done since institution, it's just been a no-brainer as to far that we're onto something special. And you know, a lot of producers and engineers are going to go around and go to every state and city and try to be in every room, but there was never in me. I mean, could be competitive, but I'm not competitive in the sense that I'm going to go and make sure that, oh no, you know, I need to be in this camp, that camp. If you know that saying, you go where appreciated, not tolerated. That's like what I live by. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go to a room if I really have to like fight my reason to be in there, you know, because I got a home and camp where people do want, you know, your presence. So that's just been my biggest compass throughout this, is like, go where you actually, you know, you're wanted. But overall, like I said, man, when it comes to him specifically, he's a special artist. And I've kind of made sure that no matter what the variable is, whether it's studio or not studio related, you just got to come through, you know?
100%. No, and I mean, you really hit the nail on the head with me for sure. Cause like, I would say when it comes to like just wanting to be in the room so bad, even if you have no purpose being there, it's like, you know, people always want to be around the artist or whatever, taking the videos, taking the stories,
Yeah.
this and that. Like, people don't understand that, like, being dead weight on the ship where you're not really contributing is kind of worse than even just not being there in the first place.
I think you stick out more of a sore thumb, because when people that are actually involved in the camp, we all know what everyone's role is. So when you don't necessarily fulfill something, you do stick out like, what are you here for? You know, and it's never on that type of tip, but like, to me, one thing I couldn't stand is like, you know, producers, and I hate to say it, but like, they'll just whore themselves out. Oh my God, so-and-so's got a camp in Atlanta, got a camp in New York, got a camp. Let's cook up beats. You want loops, this and that. And I'm like, y'all are taking the fun away from this shit. You know what I mean? Because to me, if we're all going to sit in a room in our laptop and headphones, I'd rather be in my socks at the house. You know what I mean? And doing what we're doing here, and then tap in when I feel like it's ready. But I'm not, there's nothing in me that says, man, I really got to make sure that so-and-so's got a camp going on. Let me make sure I can find my way there. Let me like hang out with the A&R for a week before to see if he invites me like that. I don't know. Maybe, of course, if I had that in me, I could probably be in a different position, but that's not the end all be all for me, at least. You know what I mean? Because it's got to have meaning. I remember saying to myself, like, you know, I can go to LA, I can move there and do the whole thing, but it would mean more if I was a part of something out of the crib. You know, if I could be out of something in Florida, that's where I feel more fulfilled, you know. And then fortunate enough, after years coming down the road, I meet someone like Kodak, and that's when it went off of like a light bulb. Like, who else has a bigger influence in Florida than him right now, you know? And on top of the fact that I'm trying to do something for my own city, this is just, it feels like a right fit, you know? It's for the crib at the end of the day. It's for no one else.
100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I mean, there is an element to it where like, you know, building up your face card or this or that is
Yeah.
meaningful, but at the same time, you don't really do that by just being in random places randomly. You do that because you were invited to this place and you showed out, and now
Yeah.
you get invited to this place, and it's like a snowball effect. So I couldn't
And
agree.
I truly believe it's like, you know, if you just do a good job, no matter what the job in front of you is, it's going to go towards something. And sometimes if people come to me and be like, oh, I remember back in the day, I was in the room so-and-so, and you're like, you know, you killed that when we were working together. I may not remember, but the point is that at the time we were together, we all cared about it to the point that we saw it through, you know? And as an engineer, your only goal is to get shit from A to B. Stop trying to tell them about the new plugin that came out. Who gives a shit what the new reverb that just dropped? Like, I personally use Deverb on a lot of shit when it comes to tracking, because I'm not going to sit there and literally try to convince the artist in the booth that's trying to put a line together. Nah, it sound cool if I delayed this, or hold on, let me do this stutter now and this drop here on this line was that. Like, that shit is like post-production to me. You know what I mean? But it's so important to kind of like stay the course when it comes to what's the job at hand. You know what I mean? Don't do too much, and definitely don't try to do too little where people think you're just bullshitting your way through, you know?
100%. 100%. Yeah. If you're somebody who's just, anytime you're thrown into something, you're doing your job, it'll go a long way. And that's even like, I feel like everybody kind of knows a little bit about like my kind of day to day now. Like, I'll just get thrown into random stuff, claim these YouTube videos for this artist or that artist or whatever. And it might start with like Lil XY2378Z that you've never heard of, but he's signed to so and so and so and so, and then eventually it gets up to that point. So I just wanted to re-highlight that point, that just, you know, do your job, do it to the best of your ability, and you'll always end up getting closer.
You gotta realize, man, everyone could talk all the game they want about how dope their shit is, but the minute you press play, it's the real point that people are gonna be like, is your shit hot or not? And I never listen to people that go around being like, nah, man, you gotta hear the shit I did. It's so dope. It's so dope. Other people calling your shit dope is what gets my attention. You
Uh-huh.
going around the room talking about how fire it is, like, I just, I could do that too. You know what I mean? But it's everybody else that kind of brings more light to the idea. Why is there interest in this stuff? But yeah, you can't be the only one that's saying your shit's hot. You know?
100%, 100%. But yeah, obviously we're here, back for everything Kodak out. What project is this? How many projects have you guys done together now?
Oh my God, man. You know, there's a lot of projects in between. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
think when you want to relate it to the studio album or like a label album, I think we're on the third or fourth. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But you know, he's had so many, like before the album was spontaneous. You know what I mean? Project Baby 2 is considered one, but then we did Heartbreak Kodak right after. Now we did the deluxe for the Project Baby 2. Then we consistently, and one thing I love about the kid is he's always got like these crazy concept albums when it comes to holidays or Halloween's coming up. We did the Nightmare Stories, you know what I mean? So it's, I mean, I to tell you the truth, I lost track. You know what I mean? Like I can't verbatim go. I mean, I probably can, but I just like there's so many things that, you know, single releases. So it's, I love it because he's not scared, you know, ironically, to be trigger happy with his music. Like he'll drop left and right. And I'm all for it because I know we have tons of more stuff that we can be releasing. So it's not like we're like, you know, exerting the hard drive, but there's times like that where I just realize like, man, like as long as we're on this rhythm, you know what I mean? This pace, it's endless. You know what I mean? We have tucked over like 400 something records from way back in the day to every time he gets out to especially this go round. I've never seen him so militant with just his recording process. Like we'll knock out 5, 6 records a night, but before he even gets me a chance to bounce the first one, he's already picking the beat for the second one. So to me, it's like that's a healthy way of me expanding my own work ethic, but at the same time, I'm going off of him because he's so confident in what he wants to get done. So as an engineer, I don't have to think like, man, you know, should we do that second verse again? This like it's never that with him because everything he does, there is nothing really that we did or you know or done that was really left for assumption. You know, we say what we mean, we do what we're doing for a point of like, you know, presentation is everything to us. But yeah, man, that's like, you know, it's the most important thing to this stuff is you got to put pride in your work, you know.
most definitely. As far as this project goes, or I guess kind of like what's what's the big differences between just like day to day being with him creating whatever versus like album mode? And then what was the process like for back for everything specifically? Was it different or kind of like it's all one and the same?
It kind of, I mean, it's not one and the same, but it feels like it's just where we picked up where we left off every time, you know, because I'll always have a gang of beats that I just know that are literally like the special, you know, grade A's that I feel like it's something. And just I guess being with him for so long, you detect patterns in people and what they, you know, react to and they gravitate. So there's some beats that I would hear being like, he's definitely going to react to this. You know what I mean? I don't know what he's going to write to it, but that
Yeah.
this go around, especially when he first got out, you know, I went up to Chicago. We spent the whole day, the first day he got out to like record. So we did majority of the music that already was out, like Feeling Peachy, we did the same shot. Let Me Know on this project we did, Heading Houses we did. So those are all my productions, but it's almost like at the time that I presented to him, it's all in one shot, you know? So I guess with this go round, it kind of feels more fulfilling because some of the records we do have on there are kind of like a continuum of Dying to Live and that feeling and aesthetic. But it's kind of the fact that given the situation we had to take a break, we're just, you know, we're trying to get this shit out. You know what I mean? So this project, it feels like the really like the intentional way that we should have came after Dying to Live, you know, despite the break. But it's just to me, I just get more excited for it because I do feel like we're continuing where we were, you know, and the music itself speaks and you know, his lyrics and everything he says in these songs. I just, you know, it's all in there, you know, it's all proof is in the pudding with him, you know. But yeah, this project especially, man, I you know, I love the title and the concept that he came up with because we've always felt like if we had that moment to get the real runway and we have the runway ahead of us, we can literally, you know, chokehold this shit. But it comes down to the fact that we just need to, you know, it's the way to plan things. There's a lot of songs we have that were supposed to go on and not go on, but I you know, he's the leader, you know, when it comes to what the album is, the concept, and what songs to choose. All it tells me what songs I go on the hard drive, put them together, make sure they're, you know, presented right, and we're good to go, you know. But that's like I said, I love his work ethic for the sake that if someone told us that we had to put out 6 projects and by, you know, by June, I know we could pick those songs. You know what I mean? We have enough. Like, but that's where you want to get. They always say, man, you never want to go to war with not enough bullets, all right? That's what music is to me, man. Every song we make is just another bullet in that ammo box. So never gonna run out of bullets if you just keep working, you know?
No, and I know you guys workaholics, so it sounds like you guys got fucking unlimited bullets over there.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I'm buying hard drives the way people would go and buy shit normally, just because I just feel like not only do I want to just store the shit and make it secure, but I just know like we're running out of space, man. There's a lot of stuff he's done over the years, that we have that to me are gems, but I never hesitate and trip over how they get released and what order they come out because I know for a fact that he has intentions with all of them, So it's just a matter of time what we got to, what the moment calls for.
No, that's definitely true. What about so back for everything, kind of like concept wise, and also I think it really has stuck out to a lot of people that one feature on it, one song, everything else straight Kodak, and it's Dyryk on the feature, who the two of them are in their own like lanes right now, just excelling.
No,
But yeah, what's kind of like the concept behind it, and then also is there strategy there that it's really just Yak standing on his own too for 99% of the project?
to tell you the truth, it wasn't intentional, as in like, oh, let's make sure there's no features on it. It's just when you pick the songs and these songs go in a certain order and they make right. It's just like I said, it is what it is. I mean, Dyryk seems to be the only feature. I mean, we have songs with other features. I mean, there were some like I mean, he's mentioned Ed Sheeran. You know what I mean, and all these people that like reach out and get on the records. But to me, it's like for him, it's all about presentation. So if it's not presented right, it doesn't matter if it can be God himself on the record. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be presented the way we intended to. So I know like when we pick records that like I just see him and I just think to myself like, man, we recorded this song this time and that this and that and all the order that it comes in, but the art in itself is how you listen to it from start to finish. That's why he is the guider with this stuff, because he knows how he wants to like a theatrical play, bro. He knows every act, every scene. It's crazy because now when the rap project's put together, you're like, damn, that's what you were trying to put together. You know what I mean? But like I said, when it comes to this stuff, it's one of those things that the music speaks for the theme of the album. The album, when you listen to it, speaks in itself, and the record with Dyryk is fire. I love it just because knowing him and knowing Dyryk, it's just a good marriage together of having them on a record. And there's plenty more, so it's one of plenty that we, like we're putting together. But I'm glad because more than importantly, it's just to finally get this music out, get this stuff going, and get people to hear. I get constant DMs like, what about this song? You guys hold it now? But they're all coming. You know what I mean? It's just how they get put together is obviously more important to us,
You speak kind of to how it ends up coming together, the team being so like tight knit and everybody having a specific role. Is there like that's why I'm so excited we're getting to it now, and the project's out and everything, but I feel like it's one of the most like Illuminati like teams or camps where it's like, how do I break my way in? How do I get a placement with Kodak? Like, how do I that? Because there's so many people who like they would be so excited about working with Kodak and only Kodak. They can throw everything else out the window. Like his fan base is just crazy. Like, what's
No,
like
they're
the
upset.
camp like? Like how is it? How is it?
I mean, to tell you the truth, man, because even when he comes home, I'll play him all the beats I have. And it's, those moments are always like, a reunion kind of feeling. But I swear to God, man, I'll play all my beats maybe the first 2 weeks and then I won't play them anything for a while. You know what I mean? And then, of course, we have the stream of people that are just sending beats because, it is what it is. But one thing I noticed about him is that sometimes it's not even a matter of what you do and how you've like what placements you have. If it's you as a person that he enjoys being around or fucks with, he'll take a beat with just drums. You know what I mean? Which he's done in the past with previous people, but it's something personal with him as to why he feels like he wants to get on this, and he still, like I said, he still listens to everyone's beats that are sent. But when it comes to working with someone like him, it's all trust. If the experience, if producers back in the day would take his like vocals and then go and add to the beat and then flip it and then do drops and do so much that he never really asked for, but then that alone is what really screws them over at the end, because now he doesn't trust you with this stuff because you're going to go do what you want, try to get another feature on there. And that's, to me, all it takes is just one time to break that trust with him. And then he's just not really for it, but I've just, stayed the course. I flew straight the entire time. I made sure that at times, like if he wanted to listen to beats, he'll say, yo, bring something up. You know what I mean? But I'm never like, yo, yeah, you got to really listen to this. Like, listen what I did last night. That's like, it means more when they actually want to get on the record than you actually have to play all these beats and forcing them to kind of like be convinced of something to get on. But for everybody else that's like trying to get in, I mean, it's not easy in the sense that, he'll ask, who did this beat? And if he, you say so and so, and he's not, doesn't know him, doesn't care for him, this and that, man, play something else. Like, so it's hard because the beats could be fire, but relationships are everything in this business. You know that, you know what I mean? And sometimes when people want to see you win, they take that extra step to understand that, like, all right, they see what you're trying to do. But some producers do come off like you literally are only here just because you were trying to get a placement. And sometimes some producers that are well known hit me about it. And sometimes I gotta just be real with them and be like, yo, just keep it real. Did you ever write him when he was in jail? Nah, I didn't, shit. Did you ever reach out before he was in jail? No, I never had the chance to. Tell you the truth, bro, you're dead to us. You know what I mean? Like, you weren't with us when we really had to fight through the storm, and now you're coming around trying to place beats because we're out here, we're moving around. We all know that. You know what I mean? You can't just all of a sudden assume that because you have a tag that everyone knows, like, we're really gonna fuck with you. Because like I said, when he's in jail or when he's away and we all reach out and try to get this going, this and that, everyone plays stupid and drunk monkey. Oh, I don't know this. And nah, I pick up on it way faster, because then when he's out, I see the transparency. All these people that I knew for years coming out the woods, like, yo, man, what do I got to do to link up with Yak? I don't know, bro. It was a year and a half of us chilling. Where were you then? I don't care, because at the end of the day, I'll see your story tomorrow and you're with this artist that's really well known. And all of a sudden you're like hyped on their shit. So I just don't give into that. You know what I mean? Like I peep game.
No,
you know,
it's a
like we all do. Like we're not stupid in
yeah.
this business. We know what the studio environment is, the hype and the stories and the gram and, oh my god, bro, hype. Me and so never lose. Like it's cool and all, but like I said, it's not doing anything for us. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, in a lot of situations, not to come on conceited, but you probably need us more than we need you. You came to us asking for the feature. We didn't go out our way and be like, hey man, can we get on your record? You know what I mean? So it's a little bit of a reality wake up call for some people. Like, you got to be all the way thorough with this shit. You can't just come around when shit's hot.
Gotta be the slow build is so much better than the fast build. Like, and
Yeah.
it's something you wish you weren't saying, but I'm happy to hear you say it, even though you probably wish you weren't saying it. Because I deal with this all the time, where it's like I'm in group chats with different producers or this or that or whatever, and I'll say, "Yo, me and so session tonight," and people won't answer, they won't send beats or whatever. And I don't even care if people say like, yo, who is that? And then I give a little backstory and then they send stuff. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, boom.
Yeah.
But like, if we're going up and it's gonna get to a point where it's so and so now is verified, got 100K, every artist is tapping in, and now you want to start sending stuff. It's like, bro, come on.
Yeah. It gets frustrating because it's like, yo, you got to realize that this entire business is kind of based off of faith. We're all hearing some melody music in our head that we're trying to put on paper for us to hear, and everyone's got the self, oh, let me analyze this, let me analyze that. But if you don't really believe in something, you can't convince me of staying there much longer, because I can get the artist, I can get the music, and understand where it all comes from. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna just like do it because it's like, yeah, sure, why not? I don't know, something about it's got to really get me to be excited for it, and the thrill has to spark, but yeah, so sometimes, like, you look at producers that want to collab, this and that, like, great, we could all do that, but tell you the truth, if you really want me to brainstorm, just send it to me while I'm at the crib, and to tell you the truth, Kodak's the type of person you can never make a beat in front of him, because he'll tell you, man, just play me some shit you got done. Like, he's not gonna sit there and wait to see like what your fucking piano is gonna sound like. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I know you got finished shit. Just play me that. You know what I mean? Do that shit on your time. And I love it because that's how I am. I want to just like break off time. Like, all right, I'm gonna go in my house. I'm gonna make beats by myself, or I'm gonna make beats and then be on Zoom with someone and they got melodies. But you know what I mean? Like, little moments like that is when you actually care about the people. When I'm sitting in a room with everyone with headphones and no one's talking to each other, and one person goes out to this person, it's just like, messing, bro, come on, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? We're all just staring at each other's faces, like, listening to beats that, like, who's the guy? Oh, you're the A&R? All right, cool. I'll send you some shit in a second. Like, that's it, but it's a different approach, man. Everybody's got something different. I don't even believe in producer tags. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just, at the end of the day, if you're about to submit 20 beats and the first 3 seconds of every beat we hear your tag, I don't even want to hear anything more because the tags annoy me at this point. We got 15 more fucking beats. I'm about to hear the same shit. Like, I don't know. It's just things like that don't kill the thrill so fast. You know what I mean? Like, find a way to get everyone excited for what they're about to hear. And then everyone's going to have the faith to be like, yes, we want to see homie work. You know what I mean? But like I said, Kodak's in his own category with this shit, because from the moment I met him, there's no one I've met that's been so sure of himself in every verse he cuts, every beat he picks. Like, there's never been like, nah, just kidding, I don't want. Nah, he's picking something for a reason, And then Painting Pictures is the best example because that record, that whole project, I felt like he just poured it out of him. Like every sitting, every beat he played, it was all in one shot, knocked it out, bomb, over with. But yeah, man, all this shit is based off of faith. If you don't believe in yourself, how is someone else in a room gonna believe in you when you're not even nodding to your own beat? You know what I mean? Like that's like the biggest factor to this shit. It's not addictive. It's not addictive to anybody else.
Yeah. What I mean, I guess that's kind of an interesting scenario as far as, I mean, it's so funny that he'll just sit there and be like, stop, play me something that's done. I don't want to watch your process. Like,
But I feel him because sometimes the process of making beats is like a little bit of a tedious thing that people that understand it should be doing. But for an artist that's trying to get words out and melodies out, you can't make them wait. You know what I mean? Why are you gonna? Damn, my bad, bro. Hold on, let me throw this snare fill real quick. Like, what the fuck? The difference is that gonna make? You know what I mean? The guy's like literally trying to put together a whole different scenario, and it's just it's a middle thing. There's other producers artists that do love producers making shit in front of them and making it like a fresh thing and cool, but it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? You can't just assume that it's just one way or the other. You got to really feel out an artist. Like, okay, do you just want to get to work or you're chilling?
yeah. What there are like producers who are making their way like passively onto the projects and things like that. I mean, how are I'm somebody, and I feel like I got you brought up the point earlier that you guys, it sounds like you guys pretty much listen to everything. Like,
yeah, no, we do. No, we do.
How
Like,
are
yeah, I mean,
how are
like,
people typically sending stuff through?
we know everybody. Like, producers that I love and grew up and respect, like it's getting crazier now because I have, people that I knew of that didn't really like follow, but like I have like Diplo and Calvin Harris, like trying to do link ups, which I think are dope because at the end of the day, fusion is where you create something new. You create your own lane, no one else can copy it. And then anyone that does it, they're just basically trying to like do what you do. But a lot of these producers, man, it just comes off of the aesthetic of, how they approach homie, because it's not like I'm trying to be the barrier of, oh, you got to go and, send
Right.
me everything, because everyone has access to fucking Instagram. Everyone could DM each other, everyone can have their own conversations. But a lot of the stuff we listen to, if it's that fire, if it really grabs his attention, he's going to get on it from anybody. That one record we have, I Wish, on the album, it's interesting because I forgot what city we're in. We might have been in Tallahassee for a show. Some kid at the mall approached him, gave him a CD. He listened to that bitch, heard the one beat, and then from the drive from the Tallahassee, I think, back to home, he wrote the whole record. We go into the studio that night at like 5 a.m. He cuts it. Now it's on the project. So to me, it's like, how do you predict that shit? You can't, and reaching out to the producer, he's blown away. He's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I just went to the mall, saw home, and gave him a CD. I didn't expect it to happen. But that's why I love, Yak sometimes, because he'll see the gem behind it. You know what I mean? And even in the beginning, it's like, yeah, you can hire any engineer to do your shit, but why me? But he knows where if I put you to test, if I like, make you step up, you're gonna be something, you're gonna level up. So now that producer is like, man, I got some, you understand, I've been making thousands of beats a day, like I got more. And it's good because you want people to get that fire in them, and want to work. But like I said, man, if it's a beat from anybody, fucking security guard, fucking guard, like everybody that comes through, it's like, oh, I got someone that makes beats, we'll take it a listen. You know what I mean? We'll hear, like, oh yeah, your nephew makes beats, cool. Yeah, your cousin, your brother, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, doesn't matter. Like, everyone knows how to like pick up a computer and try to figure this shit out. But when it's a right beat, man, it's like that says numbers, and it could be nobody. Those are honestly my favorite, because we all know what that's like. Trying to figure it out, being like, oh man, like if only so and so could hear my beat. But when that shit happens to other people, I feel good about it too, because I'm like, hell yeah, bro. That's that feeling is what drives people to want to do this more. There is like a light at the end of the tunnel type shit.
100%.
Yeah, man. But I love that though. Like I said, man, it's just, you never know how these projects get put together, but when you have stories like that, you're like, oh shit, that's
People
crazy.
are people are out here getting CDs from people and just smashing them in front of them. And he actually listened to it. And then next thing you know,
Yeah. Because we were driving, and then he pulls, he's like, yo, listen to this real quick. He's listening to beat. I'm like, where the fuck did you get where is this from? He's like, oh, I kid at the mall. I'm like, what? And then next thing you know, we're home. He's like, yo, I'm done. We got a studio you can jump into. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Just knock it all out. And that's just like, to me, it's like, that's why I love the kid as an artist, because it's like, no one keeps their imagination going like that. People do, but for him, it's just odd moments when you think we're all tapped out, like, all right, man, we had a day, let's, he just finds that fourth quarter moment. He's like, no, 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 this needs to happen right now. And then to tell you the truth, those 6 a.m., 7 a.m.ers are the ones that are like the most memorable, you know? So to me, I always say to myself, you never know what you're going to leave the house, what you're going to work on that night, and what you're going to wake up the next morning playing. And sometimes, like I remember when we first did Roll in Peace, that kind of fucked me up because I was just listening. I'm like, I don't know what it is about this record, man. But the minute people hear this, they're gonna love it, you know. But
Yeah,
that's the beauty behind this stuff. You never know what you're about to make that night, you know.
man, you never know, huh? There he
Never.
is. It's too you really never know, especially with him.
Yeah, he
What
takes a crazy approach.
yeah, what's like a day like a day working with Kodak like what time are you usually getting
Um,
to it? What time are you waking up personally? Like what's kind of like
that,
a day like?
that's the funny thing because I always miss, like, there's so much shit I need to do personally that I always miss all the business hours, and I wake up at 4:30. I'm like, damn, got 30 minutes to try to knock all this stuff out. But if we're not, if we're definitely not, it's not a late night and we're kind of just waking up late. We all knock out what we need to knock out to. You know what I mean? We all do handle our personal shit. And then towards the evening, I'll eat dinner, make sure family's good, friends are good, and then we'll make our way, and link up. But it's kind of a different because most people drop in the studio, all right, let me knock this out. But we gradually get into it. But when we get into it, it's like, like we jack level 10 on the treadmill. We're just in a mode, you know what I mean? Because like I said, even when we finish records, it's not like I'm bouncing it, blending it. It's just like close it. What's the next beat? And that process alone gets them to knock out so much stuff. But at night, we'll probably get together maybe like what, 9, 10 p.m., start working. And man, we go. I mean, he keeps me young, bro. His hours, how he stays up is crazy, and it's worse when we're over like on the West Coast because they're 3 hours behind us. So when it's like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. out west, I'm like, man, this hurts. But then just the thought of the fact that it's like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. back home, you're like, oh my God, what are we doing? But he pushes himself at times, but it's for the right reasons. He's creatively going. He's got all these ideas, things that are just like coming to him. So it's about capturing. But yeah, man, I mean, I just put it this way: I can catch breakfast every time we leave a session. Like no matter where we are, someone's like, getting ready to go to work. So those hours are normal to me, as long as you get your 6 to 8 hours in, you're good.
Yeah.
But that
What are the sessions like? Like, do you usually get there? Is he just like you get there? Is how many people is there? Is it chaos? Is everyone smoking? Is food coming in, leaving, and whatever? Like, what's it like?
it's really not as, I mean, he has a big direct and indirect family. You know what I mean? So and when it comes to studio sessions, I know everyone there is family. They wouldn't be there for no reason. You know what I mean? But majority of the time it just comes down to just focusing on what it is, instrumental, because to me beats are just soundtracks, you know what I mean? So when he picks like an instrumental that's dope and it kind of is a soundtrack to what he wants to write to, he'll focus, man. He'll focus and write and write and write and write. But the crazy thing is that maybe he'll spend like an hour writing on this pad, and then he jumps in the booth. It's like one shot, brah, he knocks the whole fucking thing out. And that's what blows my mind because I'm like, damn, bro, like, you know what I mean? Not one, let me do this line over, not damn, should I change this up? He's just very precise with his work ethic. And like I said, we'll go until we all are passed out. Of course there's food. Of course we'll just like vibe and hang out. But for some reason, I think I've been in studios for so long that doesn't really mean anything to like, yeah, I mean, is there a per diem? Do we have a food budget? This and that. Like, man, we're here just to get the job done. And when we're done, we all can go back home. You know what I mean? So studio sessions are really like they're strict in the sense that all we're there to do is work. You know what I mean? We don't bullshit. We don't sit there and watch a movie for 2 hours. Like we're there to put shit together. And that's one thing I love about him is he's so sure of whatever it is he had in mind to come in there and do. If you heard a beat, if you heard something, he's like, all right, hold on, bring this up. All right, let me do it. Just start writing, which I admire, man, because like I said, most people don't go into studio sessions with intentions like I need to figure this shit out. I need to get something done. Some people spend the whole night on one song. Yeah, one night can knock out 6 or 7. And in the right mood, forget it, bro. We could put it like literally a 10-song EP if we really like are forced to. That's
Yeah.
just how he's conditioned himself to approach music.
So I guess for you personally, kind of getting back to you off of him a little bit, like where's how does it all kind of like start for you? And then where's like the point where it gets to that like connecting point with him where you guys link up for the first time?
You mean like the first time I met him? Like how did all? What do you
Yeah,
mean? Or just
how it all started. Like how does like music even enter your life in the first place?
I mean, like I said, I'm a musician at heart. I've been playing drums since I was 9 years old, 10 years old. Like really, that was like my passion. My older sister played piano. But I got into so many like hardcore screamo bands with double pedals, thrashing, all that shit was the most fun to me. But it wasn't until like I got to shows and realized how bad sound guys fuck up your sound, especially as a drummer. You're all the way at the back of the stage, cymbals, everything's fucking noisy. All you're doing is staring at everyone's backs. But it got that tendency of me wanting to like get my shit sounding better. It was why I would like sneak off to the mixing board and like without telling the sound guy, like boost up the kick, boost up the bass, make sure the vocals are up a little bit. And that was like my mixing, you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
the shit rumbles and you can hear the main singer, I think we're good, But that led to just the curiosity of then recording a demo and recording studios locally. But then all of this is just me like being more precise as to how I get the job done. Because engineering, I can't say like I really wanted to be an engineer, you know what I mean? But I knew at the end of the day, why not learn it? You do damage in numbers, and especially if you know every single aspect of the shit, like, people could stop you for getting the beat done, then they can record it with you, then they can mix it with you. And if you master, you master. But all those little like hats you get to wear is why you become that one-stop shop. But then after, I got out of the band thing, I mean, high school, grew out of that. I went to an engineering school called SAE. It was like 9 months, SAE. And in the beginning of 2007, I started working for Circle House Studios out here in Florida. And then that 2007 to like maybe 2010 was really when I started really working under a studio and understanding like the basis of things. But it wasn't until I broke free and then I started my own studio called the Pink House with a friend of mine, Brett. And that's when I started bringing like a lot of people that, you couldn't technically bring in the studio because, whatever politic reason. I started bringing them onto my crib. And then shortly after is when I met, Kodak. And then, he saw the spot. We did painting pictures out of that studio. We did a lot of stuff that I was kind of like, this feels like a good mesh of things. You know what I mean? Given the fact that the scenario, the environment's right, I already have experience on my belt that you really can throw me anybody. What's a command space bar at this point to me? You know what I mean? But things like that is why I know now when the level that I'm at, it makes sense why things are fluid, because it's like you can prep, the definition of luck. They said preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
It's so true, because it's like, yeah, people think I'm lucky, but nah, I've been preparing for so fucking long that once this opportunity came, like this shit was like muscle memory to me,
Yeah.
But he was the perfect artist to like for me to come across, because he was so sure of himself as a person, as an artist, as a creative, that all I had to do was just capture those performances, capture those moments, like be there, you know what I mean? But yeah, the whole leading up to this, it's like it was kind of like in a way a calling, because you spend hours in a studio and not one, you're not tripping. You miss all these things on the weekend, like you don't care. That's when I was starting to say, like, all right, there's something different about you. If like all the kids are partying, going clubbing, and you rather just break free and be by yourself in the studio. But stuff like that, bro. It's you gotta recognize your passion. You gotta recognize what you love to do, and when you do, like I said, you do a good job, the right thing just falls in your lap,
Of course. Of course. What about like, I feel like everybody loves them, but sometimes when he, might tweet this or say this or whatever, it'll just throw people off, and it kind of gets to that like you love him or you hate him. But at the end of the day, he's kind of like one of those guys that are just like, there's Kodak. Like he might say this over here, but kind of speak to that a little bit with just because, people are so on the outside looking in, they don't understand like the type of person he is and why it might look this or that way, but it's really not that.
I mean, one thing just even as an engineer, being like, a fly on the wall, artists themselves, they all have their own persona, and when the camera's on them or when they're on stage, they act a certain way. But things like him that I love and admire is that there's full transparency to him. Like who you see is actually who he is, and there's no off button. There's no like, all right, Kodak on the couch chilling. Now he's not the way. Like he naturally has his personality, which we all around him have accepted from day one, and we love him for that reason, because he's hilarious. You know what I mean? Like any moment, he's gonna make a moment out of that too. But when it comes to how like everyone perceives it, it's just a fact. The same way people can like peep through your window and see your family eating dinner and not knowing what anything you're talking about. You just, unless you really understand something from start to finish, you can never know really what is going on. And of course, I stand back and I see situations that happen, and then how the media flips it. And just to me, it's just a reminder that this is the entertainment business. You know what I mean? Journalism never is getting right. It's never right. You know what I mean? No one ever gets the story right fucking on point, but that's stuff you don't distract yourself. The most important thing is if you're enjoying yourself, if you're having fun doing this, what is your concern of everyone's opinion? You know what I mean? Why do we even stress? Like we are who we are. And to tell you the truth, if you're not from Florida, you're probably not going to understand Florida lingo. So you're already at a disadvantage of that. Like, what does this mean? This and that. Like, buddy, you're just not from here. Like you just don't get it, you know? You don't know how we talk, how we move, what we joking. But that just takes time like anything else, man. You jump in any other camp, I'm sure you're gonna have a little bit of a learning curve as to how a person is, but he is the most, he has the most colorful personality. He has the biggest heart. You know what I mean? Like I said, he takes care of me and I take care of him in the right way because, in this business, man, you only have some people to really look after you. I'm sure you've been in that position where help out somebody for years and years and years. And then when they get put on, they don't do jack shit for you. And you're just like, the fuck? Like family, not to like, toot my own horn, but physically I've been in the mud with you getting the shit going. So that type of stuff, when artists come around and like, he's looked out for me the way he's looked out for me, wow, man, like by all means, you have my allegiance to all this, but unless you discover and I get to know someone that way, everything you think of someone is just going to always be an assumption. So to me, assuming things about people, you carry no merit. To me, it doesn't carry any weight because you could say that about anybody we come across the street on. Yeah. But definitely with someone like him, and the more you get to know him, the more you understand him, and the more you understand him, the more it's like you don't question what he does or why he does what he does. You get it. You see why he said that, why he did that.
And it's an unfortunate reality that just like as you progress and stay the course and move through this music shit, like somebody's gonna just like pop and leave you behind. Like it's just kind of what happens.
Sometimes it's people's scenarios or situation. Maybe their deal didn't have anything written out for you. Completely understandable. But like, man, I've seen Yak basically get on the phone and be like, "Yo, that's the guy." You know what I mean? Talk to him.
Out of the way.
Yeah, and to be honest, especially in someone in his position, we have the right to at least be in the steering wheel of like, where does our music go? How do we want this to be perceived? Because you literally give this into the hands of somebody else. I mean, I don't know. To me, that's like that kills the love for this. You know what I mean? We all love music, but how terrible would that be if like one thing you love becomes unenjoyable? So that's the one thing that I know we all have pride on, that we're gonna fight to make sure that this is the way we want it to be. If that means that we get to put out an album or not, it doesn't matter. You see, he releases music randomly on YouTube and just lets it go. That's why that's why I love the kid, because it's at the end of the day, we want the fans, we want everyone to actually perceive this the way we want them to, to accept it. Like it's the most important thing. You can't just leave it up to the public to assume this, assume that.
Hell yeah. But Dyryk, we appreciate it big time. Know how busy you are. You got a crazy schedule. Back for everything. Finally out.
Everywhere.
Next chapter is here. What's kind of some like, ending notes you got to everybody coming up, everyone who wants to, be like you, be so locked in with an artist? Like what's maybe something you now that you wish you knew back then?
Just get used to sacrifices. You know what I mean? Get used to losing the family, losing the girlfriend, losing, the clubs on the weekend, losing the parties, losing the invites, the birthdays and vacations you wanted to do 4 months from now are probably going to get canceled. Like all that stuff that you kind of think that you're normal. If you're doing this, if you're in this business, you're not normal, first of all. So I think what's the most important is, stay the course, and you really have to be a fan of your own shit. It's very noticeable when you're not bobbing your head to your own beats, or you're not enjoying it, you don't have a smile on your face. Like you got to enjoy this, and more importantly, keep the thrill there. That's like the only thing that's really been guiding me, is like the minute the thrill goes away, I'm going home, I'm closing my laptop. I don't have to do music if I don't want to, but there's a love behind this that we all remember why we got into it. And if we don't keep tapping in and reminding ourselves why we care about this or what the dream was, then we're all going to be a revolving door in this shit, But more importantly, you're not doing this for no reason if you're really staying up all night. And like I said, I was explained to it best when I was younger. Like if you had to get up at 3 a.m. and go report to work, what job would that be? And it really sat on me. Like, what the fuck can you wake me up at 3 a.m. that I wouldn't be pissed off about? Hey, yo, so-and-so's in the studio. You want to pull up? Hell yeah, I'll be right there. It's 4 a.m. I'm in the car. That's when it clicked with me. Like, yeah, I was made for this shit. Like, you can't explain this to people, friends and family look at you crazy. Like, what do you mean? Yeah, you're just getting home. It's 12. Like, just remember the love you got for this shit and you'll be fine,
Got to remember the love, got to keep enjoying it, got to stay confident, because you're going to get knocked around every once in a while. But man, I'm too excited. We finally got this one in, so great to hear about your story and kind of the background. Everybody wants a sneak peek into the world that is Kodak Black. So
there's more, honestly, because I don't ever do interviews like this, but at the same time, like there's so much music built up that, like, you know, it's too many stories that you can't not tell
Yeah.
that's going on, you know what I mean? But like I said, Carl, man, I appreciate you guys, producer culture. You guys have always been really tuned in with everybody, making sure that at least knowledge gets spread. So the reason I love doing this is because, you know, if anything, it's just for all of us to put our minds together and figure out how to view this. You know, the industry shifts every day. So if you can't adapt and talk to like-minded people that understand how to move in this, you're always going to feel like, you know, you're unplugged from it. But like I said, I'm glad that you guys do stuff like this because it helps have a point of reference for someone to go somewhere to, like, you know, get a starting point with this stuff.
No, definitely. And that was, I'm even, you know, thank you so much first and foremost. But yeah, that was kind of like the whole vision was always just, you know, I've been
Yeah.
on the phone with this or that producer all day talking about maybe something specific we're working on for 5 minutes, but then we talk for 30 more minutes just about everything. And I'm like, damn, imagine if that was like a documented conversation that, you
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
little producer Y could have listened to or whatever. Like,
And to tell you the truth, in the beginning, like when I was assisting or engineering, like there's times, man, it wasn't about being in the room to engineer. It was about being in the room to hear the stories. Like, you know, Buster Rhymes has the most amazing stories in this business of all the people he's met. Jamie Foxx, like, you know, Fat Joe. A lot of people got stories about this business that you actually can learn from, you know, because despite whether you would be in that scenario or the times have changed, it's just you got to respect the field you're getting into, you know, and the history behind a lot of this shit is really where you can find guidance. And I always find guidance in just hearing the OGs talk about what they did back then and then using today's day and age to understand the contrast of how different things are. And then you can make your judgment call as to how to move or how to, you know, deal with this or deal with that. So, like I said, if it isn't for a community of some sort, especially amongst producers and engineers, it's the blind leading the blind, you know? So we got to do stuff like this.
most definitely. But yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, just want to double down. We appreciate it so much.
No,
Producer Room,
definitely.
powered by producer culture. Man,
Sure.
everybody wants to know what's going on in the world of Kodak. We got it done. Everyone, make sure you comment who you want to see next.
No, for
Like,
sure.
man, Dyryk, you just might get it. We appreciate it big time.
Thanks, Carl, man. We'll be in touch, man. Hit me whenever.
Hell yeah.